Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome to another episode of the Adult Puzzle Podcast. Your wonderful and amazing co-host here, Lamide, and always joined with the amazing, beautiful, awesome Lolade. Hi,
Hi.
what's
What's
going
up? What's
on?
up?
How are you? You sound stressed. I'm
To
I'm gonna pin that on work. I'm gonna pin
to
that
be
on work.
fair, I'm working and I'm trying not to get caught right now. So yeah. Let's put it at
I,
work.
I don't think you have as much in Nigeria. We'll call it mind as I do. Did I tell you of how sometimes if I want to quickly do something else, I'll turn my notification on Teams to busy to show busy, whereas I'm not doing anything. And to every
Yeah.
other person, it'll be showing busy. I shouldn't be saying this, but like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I definitely know what you mean because again, I shouldn't be
Ah.
saying this, but I definitely do that sometimes. I actually have this trick. It's not for my current employer, okay, if anyone's listening to this, but I have a trick where if you're in teams, yeah, and
Mhm,
you want people to think you're busy,
mhm.
you can call yourself. And so that way it says you're in a call. But the thing is, if you don't stay active on your computer, it's gonna say like away. What you have to do
Damn.
is put YouTube on or like some video that keeps your computer active and make sure that video and Teams are on the same screen.
Shit. Daddy, you
I've
have the
literally
crowd.
gone
You have the
for
crowd.
appointments. I've literally gone for appointments where it says I'm gonna call lies. I'm literally in my doctor's appointment or like
Oh
doing
Lord have
something.
mercy. You
Yeah.
have the crowd. I thought I was bad. Oh.
Nah. Again, guys, don't do this. Don't be that sensual,
We're not
please.
teaching you people how to do all these things, or we're just telling you what we've lived,
And this
you
can only
know?
work for like work from home because if you're in the office, you can't really just yeah.
Yep. Welcome guys. Welcome to another episode. Um we're happy to record this actually because it's a bit sentimental for Lola Day especially. Um yeah, we have a guest today. And she's been here before. You've heard her voice before. Unofficial co-host, third member. That is Rumi, you know, and she's just an overall amazing person. Kez is here. Say hi,
Uh,
Kez.
Hi, that was such a nice introduction. That's so sweet. I'm happy
Yeah,
to be here again.
Kez is so used to this. Like she's a podcaster pro now.
you know when you impose a title and responsibilities on someone without them even having to approve, it was just a
Mhm.
situation of, oh, Kez, come and hear this intro sound. Oh, Kez, come and hear this outro sound. Oh, Kez, do you like this? She was just thrown into it, and she's like, okay, I guess. Like, let's go, let's go. Kez, welcome. Definitely happy to have you back. Yeah, I don't know if you guys had any hints to where the conversation will be tilted to today, but we're definitely talking about immigration. And we have Kez here as well. I think the three of us actually are immigrants to a certain degree.
Yeah. I was
You
thinking
know,
about that
so
yesterday. We all are, and we all have like differences in how our immigration story started, and I kind of wanted us to
exactly.
talk about that. Yeah.
How would you describe an immigrant? How would you?
Mm. I think basics is just like leaving whatever you call home, like your home country,
Mm,
and deciding to like move to another country to reside there for either short term, long term, permanent, whatever that may look like. But ultimately I think that's what immigration is. It may look different for everyone. Some people like leave for uh like security reasons, some people leave just for like education, jobs, whatever reason, health, but ultimately it's leaving your home country to go somewhere else that's not necessarily that's not home to you, and then making that new place home.
Yeah, I agree with what Lola said. I think basically a place you where you were born in, right? Like
Hmm.
your home country, and then you move somewhere, and you're a an immigrant there.
Yeah. What's like, and I kind of want to know everyone's story because I kind of said this, it's all different for everyone. But first, what's your immigration story? Because we've all said we're immigrants here. And then what has life as an immigrant looked like for you?
Um, so mine has not been that long yet, but I came to the United States because of school.
Mm-hmm.
I came here last year. Almost, I'm almost 8 months, if not 8 months already. Wow, time flies. So working towards a year in the United States was filled by academics, like I said earlier. Prior to moving here, did I plan actively or like think that I would end up here at one point? Yeah, because it was just the thought, well thought out plan actually, that it would be nice to have like postgraduate studies abroad and just like gain the technical skill. So it's always been flawed from the academic standpoint, not necessarily like the moving forever standpoint. So um yeah, and since I got here, I would say like, okay, prior to moving anyway, what were my expectations like? My expectations would have been, well, so the culture shock might not have been there for me because again, I have family here, so also I'm a very quote unquote exposed kind of person. So I've lived life through music. I've lived life here through music, film, stuff like that. So a lot of things did not shock me. I was already aware of the environment I was going into prior, plus I came here for holidays as well. So, you know, when I came, besides the weather that just, even though I know it's coming, it still always throws me off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, overall, I would say my immigration story or journey has been peaceful, straightforward, legit. And
Laude is trying to denounce himself as a legal immigrant.
yo,
It's legit. What was the process like though? So you came here as a student for
yes,
graduate program.
yeah.
How did you go about that from Nigeria? Like walk us through that because I actually don't even know what that looks like as a student
Okay.
coming from Nigeria.
Okay. So, a friend of mine actually asked me that this morning. So, I think the first step is if you want to toe the academic lines like I did, the
Mm-hmm.
first step I had to figure out was which state, do you want to like study in, or
Mm-hmm.
then what? Sorry, which state do you want to live in? Are you comfortable living in? Then what school do you pursue? I say that, I say it in that order because most people would be like, which school do you want to go to first? Then where can you live there? Sometimes, I think the living supersedes the studying part because the living will support you throughout the program as well as, commuting and stuff like that. So, yeah, I figured out the state I wanted to live in first,
Mm-hmm.
then the school I wanted to go to. So I applied for the program that I wanted to um, study, and then there's a whole wait period to when you get a response from the university
Mm-hmm.
to so when you get that, hopefully, unconditional offer response, you can then you
Lamide, what's wrong with you? What do you mean unconditional offer?
okay, so like there are two different kind of offers. There's a
Mm-hmm.
conditional offer and there's an unconditional offer.
Really? That's actually a thing?
Oh yeah.
Oh, are you serious? I didn't know
Oh, you
that.
think? Oh,
You're making this shit up.
no, 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 no.
Wait,
Oh
is this
my
from the
god.
school?
Yeah, from the school.
Mhm.
Okay.
There are conditional offers and there are unconditional offers. Oh, okay. So you sincerely thought I was joking. Okay,
I
okay.
thought you initially made that
No,
happen.
I didn't know about this either.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what is
so
it, please?
if you like really read through some of the offer letters that you get, you'd see that unconditional offer, conditional offer. So unconditional offers are like you fulfilled all the criteria. you check out on every single box for them, and yeah, you can come and you're in. Conditional offers, like there's one comma there, but like pending the time that you fulfill that, or they have the belief that you'll be able to fulfill those requirements, you're part of the institution already. So a conditional offer could be, let's say you don't have, let's say, a document or something, but they see that you fulfill just enough to be given the admission letter. They'll let you know that you still have to fulfill that requirement, maybe within the next 3 months, or 2 weeks into your entry, or before class starts, or stuff like it could be anything really. So there's actually
Gotcha.
something there's actually something like a conditional offer.
I'm
So so after that, is you would think that getting into the school is like the hardest and the scariest part, but from where I come from, in West Africa, Nigeria to be precise, you're just starting. Like, you've just done the easy part. The visa, getting the visa is the
it's the
hard
hard
part.
part. Hmm.
So because of where I come from, my country's reputation is not the best, to the rest of the
Ah,
world.
Nigeria would humble
Even for
you.
school, it's hard
Mhm.
to get a visa, like a
Oh,
student
Yeah.
visa.
Kaz,
It's
you
so
don't know the
different.
half of it. You don't
I
know the half of
really.
it. Yo, I'll tell you now. So like, so yeah, applying for the visa, right? You fill online or whatever. In my country, there are some people that claim to be agents that they would say that they can do it for you, and I just feel that's a waste of time and money. You pay them heavy amounts of money, and you can even still get denied. So I prefer to tell people, like, fill those forms yourself, go online, stuff like that. So after you fill your forms, the first part of the hurdle will be securing a date for your visa. In my country, plus even naturally, because of the volume of people that are always trying to apply, it's usually a whole long process trying to secure a date. Now with COVID in play, securing the date would be like if you want to travel, you know, next year, start applying this year, that kind of thing, to get a date. Hopefully you can secure a date by the end of the year and you can travel next year, that kind of thing. So yeah, most people get denied, to be honest with you, even with offers from, the university and everything,
And
and
it's
with all
over
your
like
finances.
ridiculous things, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you don't, it doesn't seem like you come back, or
Mhm.
crazy things like
And
that.
that is the main issue. So naturally, yeah, with my own people, we're not the most, let me even use my own people, but like, humans are not the most truthful people, to be honest with you, right? So it's just the truth. So of course they've zeroed their minds as gatekeepers, right? Because they're literally gatekeepers, that everybody wants to live, everybody wants to run
Yeah.
away. So
Yeah.
that's their mindset. And so your own job would be to make them feel as comfortable believing you that that is not why you're going, even though deep down that is why everybody is going. I don't know if you guys are catching my drift. So like, it's like they know, like, when you get it, so you hear questions like, okay, they want to see a proof of you coming back. So people that have a job here, a high level job here, and are going for a program, are more likely to get a visa
Yeah, that's true.
than someone who just came out of school and is applied and got into a reputable university, even if it's Harvard, and you got it on a full scholarship. They might not give you. That's how crazy it is. They might deny you a visa. So getting a visa is a whole thing, and yeah, that's the main struggle, and that's where a lot of people fall flat. So after you get your visa, you celebrate with family, you're happy, and then you get a ticket, and yeah, you land in the States, and you're happy, and hopefully they don't send you back at the immigration stand again. Hopefully they believe you enough while you're here, and stuff
Oh
like that.
yeah, because they do question you
Oh
at the.
yeah. Oh, and by the way, oh, that's true. Thank you for asking this question, Ladi. My immigration story is super funny. Do you know that apparently, if you're coming in for an academic program, there's a specific date, so you can't get into the country. I think maybe a week before, or no, is it a week or 30
It's
days?
it's a month, so like
A
that's what
month.
happened. Yeah, that's what
Exactly.
happened to my sister. We knew she can only come a month before her school
Hmm.
starts,
Hmm.
but because Indonesia is like almost 24 hours ahead, we forgot the like time difference, so she got here a day before the 30 days.
Hmm.
But thankfully she got in. But yeah, that the rule is 30 days before.
So I didn't even know that, right, Kez? And so I got in like what was it? Maybe 2 weeks before the 30-day period and stuff. And I get there and like dude's looking at me after everything checks out. And then he goes, "Oh shit, like you're like 2 weeks earlier and stuff." I'm like, "Oh, there's a thing like that?" And he was like, "Yeah, dude." And he was just like, "Yeah, just hold on a second." And I think they checked my history and stuff. They saw that I have family and I've been here before, and it wasn't a big deal. And he was like, "Yeah, you can go in," but like he started laughing. He was like, "Dude, you're like super early." I'm like, "Well, I didn't know," and stuff. So definitely don't recommend that because I'm not sure they would let people in
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, I was lucky and God's grace, you know. So that was my story, you know.
So you came in for a graduate program under student visa, right?
Correct,
Right,
correct, correct,
right.
correct. That's it.
Okay, okay. Kez, how about you? I know yours is
Oh
similar
my
but
gosh.
different because you've gone through student and then work. So walk us
Yes.
through it.
Okay, I can start. Like Lamide, I came here for college, but it's for my undergrad. So I moved to the US right after high school, which was 2014. So I've
Hmm.
lived here for almost 8 years now. Um, yeah, the whole process of like getting a visa and all of that was the same, but I feel like it's the process was so much easier. I think they just want to make sure that you're not going to stay here forever. You're going to come back to Indonesia. I think that's the
Hmm.
biggest thing. And then, so after college, I worked, and the same visa is the same student visa is used for working. It's called OPT, optional
Hmm.
practical training, and it depends on the major that that you took back in college, but
Hmm.
you either get a year of work permit or 3 years of work permit, but that's still under, like I said, like still under the same visa, but you just have to have a work permit where you can apply, I think, 3 months before you graduate. So yeah, it's different, like being a student and working
Yeah,
here.
yeah. So for you, Kez, you came in undergrad.
Yeah.
You did undergrad, and then towards the end of your undergrad, you were able to like apply for this extension or to your student visa that was also a work visa, which is like the OPT thing, right?
Yeah. So I applied, so because I was under the STEM major,
Yeah,
I could get 3 years. And so, after, like, on my last few months of before graduating, I applied for the work permit. I got a full year, and
yeah.
then I had to wait, I think, like about 3 months before I got the work permit.
Oh
And
wow.
then once I get the work permit, there's a start date that I had to pick for when I can start working. And
Mhm.
then like your last 3 months, I think you can apply. For me, I can apply an extension for another 2 years. That's why it's a total of 3 years.
Oh, okay. Actually, let's talk about that because I thought that was wild. First of all, I think it's a bit unfair that depending on the type of major that you have is going to determine how long you get to stay in the States to work. Because basically, if I understand this correctly, if you're a STEM major, so science, engineering,
Yeah.
technology, and math, you get to stay 3 years. And if you're everything else, so like the arts, the social sciences, then it's 1 year. I think that's so unfair
Same. I don't know why it's like that. Like
because it makes it seem
it,
like,
it doesn't make sense
yeah,
to
like if
me.
you have a STEM major, then
So
you're more
you guys,
valuable.
it okay, it's like that on paper, but you would look at it from the government perspective. So everyone is selfish, right? So for them, I think the most, the kind of things they care about from the government perspective, things like space tech, things like solar energy, things like, you know, just things like that, space, defense systems, all that. Who are the who are the set of people that would fulfill those kind of desires? People in that STEM major category, right? So for them, it's like gathering talent or talent gathering, right? That's how it is. So not to say that people in the arts or like commerce can't contribute or like be of use to them, but it's just like prioritizing what they need or being selfish with their desires. So from the government perspective, that's how they're looking at like what's the talent that we are looking to recruit. It's just almost like a soccer team, like a football a football club trying to recruit players, right? So I think that's why it's set up in that way, right?
I think
So
it's bullshit. The reason why
I
I think
think,
it's
yeah,
bullshit is because if
mm,
you're going to have an international student come here and
hmm
pay the same fees, don't get me
hmm
wrong, it's not like if you go to Harvard for arts, you're going to pay less than if you go to Harvard for engineering. It's the same school fees, right? So
hmm
why aren't we given the same opportunities, especially if it's already capped? Like if the STEM person is giving 3 years and the art person is given, it's not like the STEM person is given a guarantee to stay in the country. Like
yeah,
I think it's bullshit, especially because it's the same process up until that point and it's very very different as to a STEM major has 3 years versus 1 year is a lot. It's a lot of differences, and a lot of times what I've seen happen is because of how
hmm
short that 1 year is for the non-STEM major, they don't end up experiencing, like they don't end up working because it's
yeah.
not enough time to get a job. And I think you said the
hmm
full meaning of OPT, it's
Optional practical training.
optional practical training. And so my understanding is why it's set in place is to give students the ability to practice what they've learned, right? Put that
hmm
into practice before you go back to your home country. So in my head, I get what you're saying. Like I'm trying to like envision it from like a government perspective, but okay, why didn't you, if you're going to make things unfair for non-STEM majors, then already they should have been a more competitive advantage for why you're a STEM major in college. Either as a STEM major, you're paying more, or I don't
Hmm.
know. Yeah, I think it's bullshit.
And I think even if they're looking for like specific STEM talents, there's still like barriers to like, since you're not a citizen, you still can't apply to these specific talents that they're looking for. They're specifically
Exactly.
looking for like citizens or like permanent residents. And also, I
Exactly.
think I don't understand, like some of my friends, they both have like a bachelor of science, but like a bachelor of science in economics, let's say, can fall under a STEM major, and bachelor of science in psychology can fall under a STEM major,
STEM
but
major, yeah.
bachelor of science in agribusiness doesn't. So like, how do they
That's why I
like
think it's
decide
it's
on this?
it's actual bullshit. Because I think it's just, I don't know. It makes no sense to me. Like it really doesn't.
I see
From
what you guys are saying, but okay. So the first thing I said was from the government perspective, and again, like I like to do on the show, I'm just playing devil's advocate. How about from the demand perspective, right? So the demand for the roles or the jobs or training that the students are supposed to get. What if it's not proportional to how many how many jobs available are there for those amount of graduates at a certain point in time? Do you understand
so
what I'm saying? Like
I
it's
get what you're saying, Lamide. Sorry to cut you
Mhm,
short, but the reason why it doesn't make sense to me is even for a STEM major, right?
Hmm.
There's still criterias there. It's not
That
like
you
as a
have to
STEM
fulfill.
major,
Yeah.
exactly. It's not like as a STEM major, you automatically get 3 years. No, you have
Yeah.
to get a job and then
Hmm.
you stay in that job for a year. And then if you're
Hmm.
still at that job for a year, you apply for additional 2 years, right?
Hmm.
Right.
Though there are checks and balances in place that if you already don't follow them, if you don't get a job, you leave, right?
Hmm.
And in my opinion, it's only makes sense to give other people that are not STEM majors the same option, right? Even if there's no demand, right? Like
Hmm.
at least they're given the option. So even happens
Like
for
the
STEM,
yeah,
yeah,
like
right.
the
It's like,
choice.
okay,
Yeah.
the choice. It's like you don't have a job in, I don't know, journalism. Okay, you try to look, at least you had the option. But
Yeah.
a lot of them, what happens is they're not given the option and they're automatically like forced out of the country. And I just don't think it's fair. That's kind of like the bottom line. I understand the whole like, yeah, there's more demand for STEM, there's more demand for science. Cool, but at least give, if you're going to school and the whole idea is like go get an education, you pay for your education, you go to the same school, you come out with this great education, at least be given the opportunity to get practice. If you're not able to, then that's fine. At least the country gave you the opportunity to. It just doesn't make sense how it's very divided in the States. And I know it's very different in other countries, but in the States, it's like if you're a STEM major, you have so much more advantage over someone who's not. And that for me has not like resonated as to like why.
Yeah, and then what makes it hard too, like if you're only given a year and you have 3 months of unemployment, by the time the start date, like the date starts, the date that you put on your work permit,
Yeah.
um, employers, you obviously have less than a year to work
To
if you
work. Yeah.
so that like employers wouldn't want
That's what
their
always
employees to
happens.
work.
It's like they
Yeah,
don't even look at them because it's like, oh, we barely have 6 months to hire you. That's why for
exactly.
me, it's like, it makes, when I tell you guys, it makes no sense how the government doesn't see how it's a very clear disadvantage. Like,
Mhm.
when there's some things that you look at and you're just like, this is apparent that it's unfair. This is
Mm.
one of them. It's like, how doesn't the
Yeah,
government see it? Whoever
I
Hmm.
said
agree.
so, yeah, that.
Okay, okay. I learned a lot from what you said, and what is life, or what has life as an immigrant been like
Mhm.
for you?
I think it's definitely interesting. I think for me, I moved when I was 17. So I learned a lot just by living away from home and coming out of my comfort zone. I
Mm.
had to make like new friends. I had to be more independent, like cook my own stuff, be able to manage like the budget that I was given by my parents. So like a
Hmm.
lot of learning opportunities as an individual. And since I've lived in I think 4 different states now, it depends on the state that you're into or like the place where you're in. I feel like some places are friendlier and more
Right,
welcoming
which is
than
why I
others.
said think of the place you want to live in first before you even look at the school when I was talking, because these are like minor things that people do not really pay attention to. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. So like as obviously like a place like California or like Seattle where there are a lot of Asians and like more diversity, I feel like
Mm.
they're definitely more welcoming and
Mm.
Yeah.
like just you feel like you belong more in other places
Mm.
compared to other places
Hmm.
What
where
states
there.
have you lived in?
So I lived when I first moved here. I went to a community college and I lived in Washington for
Hmm.
2 years, and then I transferred to Michigan, and then I lived there for 2.5 years before till I graduated, and then I got a job in Maryland. I stayed there for almost 2 years, and then I moved to San Diego working in the same company, but just like a different position. So I had to move to San Diego.
Yeah, you definitely had like a fair share of different parts of the country. I don't think I've even
Yeah.
experienced that. Which one has been your favorite, just like from the immigrant's perspective?
Thankfully, the places that I lived in, they were welcoming, and they're like pretty big cities that I lived in. So
Mhm.
there was a lot of diversity. I think out of the four, um, Michigan was the
Yeah.
least diverse for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah. Michigan.
Big
Cool
Mitch.
place. It's not for me.
Like definitely the place that I was in, it was a college town, so obviously there were a lot of international students. But
Yeah.
outside of that area, yeah, it was.
Yeah. Can we actually talk about something? Because before I even go into my like immigration experience, because mine is slightly different from you guys, but both of you guys came in as international students. I wasn't an international student, but I feel like there are specific things that stand out to internationals that are just like mind boggling.
Which angle do you want me to take it
I
from?
don't
Do you
even know. I think let's start from like the fees because that one is intense. Then we could go into like we could go into how you can't work if you don't have a certain so class. Just I don't know
right,
the constraints. I would say,
right. And there are a
yeah,
lot of them, but like you said, let's just start with
yeah,
the most, I think, mind blowing of them all definitely is the fees.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
I mean, I think my first knowledge of it was maybe just like Googling, right? So I'm on Google on
Hmm.
my computer and I see, the price for wanting to study a program. And let's just say, hypothetical for a course, we're talking about mm, $30,000 for the program.
Yeah.
And I now see there's another column that says domestic,
Yep.
or
Yep.
another
Yeah.
column that says domestic, and I'm seeing maybe $6,000. I'm like, back up, wait, what is that?
Yep.
And you're beginning to think that, oh, maybe you're getting a more advanced program, or
Mm-mm.
like, no
Mhm.
way, you're getting the same
Same
shit.
thing.
You know what I'm saying? And they could probably even not show up to class, and like
Yep.
they could do the entire thing online. And you just, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's mind boggling. It's I don't know. I just feel it's a money making scheme, and you would one would think that if we're paying that amount of money. Now back to your point, I've jumped over the fence. Now
Exactly.
I'm not playing devil's advocate anymore. Back to your point. If someone has contributed 30, 35, $40,000 in a year to your economy, I mean, it's only right you give the person a chance to recoup that money
Right?
back
Or
before
learn.
or learn before the person goes back to their country.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it definitely is, a challenge.
Yeah.
So that alone is the reason why a lot of people can't, come here, or
Hmm.
travel for education or for better education. It really is a privilege to study as an international student, especially here in the States, because I mean, the fees are just ridiculous, which is why a whole lot of Nigerians, because we're sharp like that, have embraced, have embraced academic excellence, right? So most of them will be looking for like scholarships or assistantships to like bridge and like, yeah, bridge that gap, or soften the dampen the effect of financial fees and all that. But still,
Yeah.
I just think 30,000, 40,000, it's a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
If there's no difference in like the quality of the program, what is the justification for the price? You understand what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah.
wonder how that was even a thing and how it was approved. But again, to play devil's advocate, I'm sure it must have been someone on the immigration
Do you know
committee
the
at this.
funny thing,
What?
Lamide? I feel
What?
like for the international fees,
Hmm.
reasoning wise, right? I can
Hmm.
see why international
Oh,
students
please play
pay
devil's
more.
advocate this time. Please
No,
let me know.
let me
Like I
actually
want to know.
let me
Yeah.
explain why. Because if you are a resident of a country, or
Hmm.
let's use America, right? you
Mm-hmm.
pay taxes for years to come, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your taxes go into several different things: infrastructures, the roads, the
Right.
schools, the this, the
Mhm.
this, the this, the that, right? So thinking about, I don't think the difference is valid. Like, so for example, UCSD, the school I went to, as a California resident and like, all of that, you pay about 30. For an international student, you pay 60. That's
Hmm.
2x.
Jesus
I don't
Christ.
think that multiple is justified, but it makes sense to me more than the OPT thing, discrimination. In my head, is discrimination between STEM and non STEM, because as a resident, right, you've been adding to that country's economy for years to come before you decided to go to college. So it's kind of like, okay, you've been putting in taxes, you've been contributing to this environment for a while, because even there's out of
Mm-hmm.
state fees too, that
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
out of states are is not as much as international, but that still makes more sense to me, why there's a varying in the prices that people that reside in America, either you're a citizen or you're a permanent resident, versus international people that just get here. It makes more
Mm-hmm.
sense to me than the OPT thing. However, I think the rates, like how different the rates are,
Mm-hmm.
that's look, it makes my chest pound. Like, it's a lot. It's
It's so. I mean, yeah, I agree with that. I definitely see what you're saying with that. Maybe what you said definitely makes a whole lot of sense because you're right. You've contributed in one way or the other to like
Mhm.
economic improvement via taxes or whatever uh to the stabilization or the erection of those structures, right?
Mhm.
So it's only right if you're paying like a subsidized
Subsidize it,
fee or
yeah,
amount,
yeah.
right? So that is wise and smart and okay. But the again, to your point, the difference in those fees is questionable for me,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
what is the justification for 30, 40, $40,000 in fees for a year's program, like, or a year and a half, 18-month program, compared to maybe the real amount, which would be about 12,000 bucks, 13,000,
yeah,
15,000. Like,
yeah.
I don't see it, but someone somewhere high up saw
Does
that.
the calculation,
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? That
yeah,
you guys are going to sweat in. So, I
yeah.
mean, so yeah, it's ridiculous. In terms of like the perception, like so treatment. It,
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
as an international student, like at every point you have to kind of like tread lightly, quote unquote. Like just watch your step and watch what you say. Like you don't want to get overly comfortable because the same laws do not apply, right? Because
Hmm.
Hmm.
it is
I
just what
agree.
it is. I just don't want to say like if you're listening, you should probably understand like the same laws don't apply. Like you're different, however which way you want to look at it. If you have a good fake accent like myself, and you can even still blend. Like when it comes down to it, show me your papers. I do not have their papers. Simple as ABC. Like
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying? Like you're not
yeah.
one of them, so
I
it
get what
it
you mean. Can
that is
I
that.
can I
Yeah. Okay.
translate it, if I'm
Yes.
understanding it well, so that the
Yeah.
PMV is jumping out? So basically, the consequences of trouble for an
Mm,
international student is
mm.
different than a resident or a
I just
citizen.
knew you deserved every accolade you get as a PM. I love you so much. So yeah, that's just what it is. Like
Yeah.
that is that what she said. So getting a job as well, getting
Oh
securing
yeah.
securing a job is
Oof.
it like to be honest, at
Mhm.
this point, with the amount of competition out there in the world, respect to those who still land or like who still land jobs and who still believe in the sincerity of the system and still try and still put their hat in the race and all that because it is stressful. It is
Mhm.
strenuous to the mind, body, like your mental well being, trying to
Takes a
secure a job.
toll.
It takes a toll on
Yeah.
you. And it's just not fair when you look at everything, because the amount of opportunities that you can access alone is already limited, right?
That's true.
Then to get those jobs, you have to be overly clean. I don't know if you get them. Like you just have to like maintain this. They would think would be unreasonable standard, but a whole lot of people have been able to maintain those standards to get jobs, like clean records, clean academic merits of like you know before you would think like a 2-1 would be good enough for you to secure a job, but like the
Two
immigrants are
one,
Two
bruh.
one.
I'm
okay.
like,
You see the response.
why?
You see the response exactly. So my point exactly, and
In this is this
it,
economy
in
two
this
one?
economy, right?
That's
So
Jan.
God bless you. So the exact reactions show the kind of environment we're living in.
Can I just
Whereas
say
even a friend,
something?
yes,
I'm
please,
sorry,
yes.
guys. If anybody's listening that has a 2-1 GPA, you're doing amazing. Okay,
Words of
just
encouragement.
just keep it
Oh
up.
my
Okay,
God.
you
So
are not your grades. Know that. Continue.
exactly. So like, I mean, we immigrants, we came in and we're like, shit, that ain't gonna work for us. We're from the same place, and so immigrants have raised the bar to like a first class and sometimes even a
Mm-hmm.
4.0 out of 4, which is
Yeah.
what we typically now have to start competing against
Yeah.
one another with. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
those kind of things are just like, I mean, it's intense. So
Yeah.
not to
Yeah.
talk for the rest of the show, but like, yeah, those are just few areas
No,
where
for sure. I kind of like I want to hear from both of your perspectives because I saw it through my friend, so I want you guys to speak on it. Kez, do you have any like
Yeah,
experiences? Yeah.
just to add to that, like job searching, and aside from like the time that you're given to be unemployed before having to leave the country, that's
Mm-hmm.
already a struggle in itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you really have, just like Lamade said, I feel like you really have to go above and beyond and just be able to prove that you're different. You're like you can like